This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're going to be replacing a refrigerator seal around the fresh food section, and we're going to pop off this little plastic piece here at the top that is holding on the hinge for the freezer. We're just going to zip out these two screws, and then this hinge pin will come right off. You can also do this procedure without removing the doors. It's just a little bit easier, I think, once you get the doors off to do a more thorough job, but you don't have to. You can do it with the refrigerator door still in place. To get the refrigerator door off, you have to take the freezer door off first. To do that, you take off this pin and then just lift the freezer door off. That exposes a hinge pin here below it that is holding on the fresh food door. And we're going to remove one screw. There's 3 screws, Phillips head screws. We're going to remove the one to your right. And the other 2, if you can loosen them, it's good, but this hinge pin will slide to your right. You got to remove the one furthest to the right for sure, though, because it's a set screw. It's holding it in. Now you should be able to slide the hinge pin to your right and pull it out. This little spacer comes out. And now you can lift the fresh food section door up and out. There we go. And then it's good to remove all the items that are in the door, and we're going to just pull out the old seal, and it has a little channel that it fits into, so you just want to pull back, it'll come loose. And you'd be replacing it because it might be brittle and it's letting warm, moist air enter the refrigerator. Or maybe you notice some of the magnetic pull is not as strong as it used to be. So when you order the new one, it should come in a box and should already be nice and straight. If you got one that came all crunched up, then it's wise to put it in some warm water for about 4 hours to let it really thaw out and get warm before you try putting it on. This type is a little bit stiff and is actually really easy to put into the channel. You're just going to see where that channel is and push in and start in one of the corners and then just work inch by inch away from that corner. Do make sure you push in hard so that it fits strongly into that channel. Some of these seals are held in by screws that are visible when you pull back on the rubber lip, but most of them are like this one that just fit into a channel. When you get to the corners, that's where you probably need to use the most force to really get that to sit in that channel. Sometimes I'll use 2 hands and just press it between the 2 hands, trying to crush it so you get it in there tight. Just take your time, work around. And what this does again is it makes less likely your refrigerator will have an air leak because the rubber is nice and new and supple and the magnetic pull is stronger, so the door pulls tighter to the frame. Over the years, some of that magnetism is lost and it won't close as tightly. So just go inch by inch all the way around, especially in the corner, really push it in. You can take a look at the groove. So here I'm just squishing it between the 2 hands, and you'll feel it. It'll lock into that channel. If you do this with the door on, it's no problem. It's just a little bit hard to do the part at the bottom because you have to get down on the floor and a little bit awkward, but definitely can be done. Here's another one of the corners. There we go. I noticed that the handle's a little loose, so I'm going to tighten these 2 Phillips head screws while I'm there. If air is able to get in you'll notice that you'll get moisture build up inside your fridge. Might even notice a little bit of like ice or frosty snow forming, and that's just warm, moist air that sneaks in there and then freezes. And that's usually a bad seal. That could occur for your freezer door or your fresh food door. Just making sure it's all in there really tight, and then we'll just lift up the door and set it back down on its hinge pin, and then we'll put in the top hinge pin. So we're just setting it down on the bottom hinge pin, and then the magnet will hold the door in place while you put in the top hinge pin. So remember, there's a little spacer there. So put the spacer in position. You're going to slide it in underneath the first two screws, the ones to your left. Put the hinge pin in, slide it in, and then we'll go ahead and put the screw in on the right. That's the set screw that holds it in. And then you want to tighten that one and the other two if they're loose. All three of those tight. And we're putting the freezer door back on the hinge pin. And then again, we'll use the magnetic pull to hold the door in position. Put in the top hinge pin. There's two screws that hold it in. And I like to lift up a little bit on the freezer door on the lower right hand side. I like to lift up to get the door nice and even while I'm tightening these screws that hold in the hinge pin, because there's a little variance. It can move around a little bit, so I like to lift up to get it really straight and then tighten it down. Tighten those two. There we go. Getting really tight. We'll put that plastic cover piece in there. Make sure everything's opening and closing well. Just pop that one on, and we're as good as new. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance.